Hello, good morning, y'all. Today we are going to take a brief look at film studies as a subject. So there are two different aspects of film studies. You'll have to remember that film studies revolves around these two different factors and not get confused with any one of them. One set of factors is where we are looking at filmmaking as a process and what are the different elements that go into producing a movie. Another part of the film studies subject deals with taking films that have already been shot and released and have become discourses. So you take that particular product, dissect it, analyze it, and understand it from the perspective of what it is doing to the society, what kind of meanings are emerging, what kind of techniques have gone into creating the narrative, and all of that stuff, right? So first we'll look at the filmmaking bit, which is a first couple of modules if you see in the film studies syllabus in different colleges. So filmmaking is a process which involves uh, three different rounds, three different stages, right? One is the pre-production, one is the production, and one is the post-production stage. Pre-production stage is before the film is shot. Production stage is when the film is being shot. Post-production is fine-tuning the finally shot product and making it consumable for the audiences. So now, in pre-production stage, some of the things that are essential is one is the scripting. You need to have a script. There are again multiple types of script, but script formats. But the most popular are the three-column script format and the standard film script format. The standard film script format describes the scene, talks about what are the different elements that are going to be included in that particular scene, talks about what kind of shots will be used, what kind of background music will be used, what kind of sounds will be used, and also talks about what are the actions that we are going to get to see, like fluttering leaves of a tree. You can say things like wind blowing. You can say stuff like crowded village fair, things like that. And also the location is mentioned. So this is the script. Scripting is where they say that a film begins its journey, its life journey from the scripting stage. So once the scripting is done, another very important element of the pre-production stage is the casting. That is deciding who is going to be the artist that is going to act in front of the camera. And then you also have the other technical team that you hire, your stunt directors, your music directors, and everybody, right? So all of that is a part of the casting stage. Once that is done, there is another thing called recce stage. In recce, you are basically deciding all your locations where each scene is going to be shot. You're going to finalize on. You're going to have a team, a recce team. The recce team's job is to go around and based on the script, they are going to identify and come back with 3-4 options for each scene. The directors and the rest of the assistant directors or whoever is going to take a look at all the different photographs of the locations, videos of the locations, and then they're going to decide, okay, this scene will be shot in this particular location. So that is done by the recce team. Apart from this, the dialogues, the choreography, and the practicing of the dialogues and all of that stuff, all that happens in the pre-production stage. In the production stage, which is the second stage, is where they actually go to the location with the script. They have all the actors and the entire crew there, and the film is shot. The shooting process happens in this particular phase. At the same time, particularly in the Indian cinema context, even in Western cinema, the musicians and the music directors are also given a green signal with the album that needs to be recorded for the particular movie. So it is in this stage where all the raw footage is produced for the cinema. Film. Cinema is the discourse, film is the technical term for the reel, right? So once all the production process is done, and now you have your footage for each particular scene. You have by the way, a scene is a combination of shots. A sequence is a combination of scenes, right? A shot is from the time you hit the record button, move the camera in whatever direction you want, the action is done, and then you stop it. That is one shot. So you combine multiple shots together to make a scene, right? A scene is a particular narrative that is happening, a particular a slice of a narrative that's got its own lifetime of the beginning and the end. That is a scene. Combination of scenes are a sequence. A sequence is an entire set of events that happen with multiple scenes happening together. So all of these are gathered and then given to the editing team. Whatever happens at the editing console, whatever is happening in the recording studios with respect to recording the dialogues, with respect to recording the narrator's voice, the voiceovers and stuff like that, the background music and the audio, all forms of audio for the movie, and all the fine tuning process, that is a part of the post production stage. So these are the three stages that are essentially looked at when you are looking at the filmmaking process, right? So once there's certain specific technical elements that you all will need to know in terms of like what are the this is one thing you'll definitely have to take a look at. Please check it out somewhere. It's the different types of shots. Just be aware of it, although there's a very remote chance that this question might be asked. There's no harm in taking a looking at it, right? Now coming to film as a discourse, which is where it is referred to as cinema, right? There are multiple schools of thought, but you all will need to know four very prominent schools of thought that mark the beginning of looking at cinema as a discourse. One is Italian neorealism. Italian neorealism is a school of thought where they talk about presenting the scenarios as realistic as possible. Conversations are very everyday life sort of conversations. The problems are real, the situations are real, and it's mostly shot with people who look as realistic as possible. So that is the Italian neorealism school of thought, right? Many filmmakers are a part of this little movement, but one prominent name is Truffaut, Francois B. Truffaut, right? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right, but you will obviously find it on the internet. Another very important school of thought is the school of Romanticism. Romanticism is an offshoot of the school of Romanticism in literature, right? You had all your Shakespeare's and you had your William Blake, and you had your Yeats, you had your Keats. You had all these guys writing a lot of like romantic literature, right? The same set of tools and concepts were mirrored and replaced in film as an art. So even to this day, you will see a lot of emphasis, especially in Indian cinema. You will see a lot of emphasis given to romance. You will see a lot of emphasis given to emotions, and that's what sells the most. So the romantic era was established at that point of time, and in the romantic school of thought, there's only one focus where the entire narrative revolves around emotions, mostly to do with love as an emotion, love, companionship, attraction, etc. Now another third very important school of thought is the school of film noir, 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 but pronounced noir. So the film noir category revolves around shooting films with a very dark tone. It's a combination of red and black tones, and it has this very like usually to shoot like these thriller movies, to shoot like suspense movies, to shoot movies that have a gangster tone, crime tone. There was a lot of black and red being used. So all of that comes under the film noir category. Another last school of thought that you will definitely need to be familiar with is the school of surrealism, which talks about fantasy, which talks about creating things. So, the school of surrealism has one primary argument which says you can't give them what they have in their everyday lives. You have to feed the audiences with what they can't experience in their real lives, like spirits and ghosts and dragons and all this fantasy stuff. It's surreal, right? So all the surreal elements that you take a look at. Okay, so I was talking about the escapism of the school of surrealism. When you present escapist content and you're trying to take the audiences out of their real life situations, that is the school of surrealism. Again, surrealism was a concept that was popular in the field of paintings, art, right? And that was then a part of film as a movement. So these are some schools of thought. From your end, I would request you to take a look at some award winning filmmakers, some great movies that have become a part of our cultural landscape, and also try and get a hang of some popular actors, some award winning actors, some popular art cinema from the Indian context also, right? There will be a lot of names and there will be a lot of dates and figures that you will need to be aware of. So that is something you should definitely be taking a look at. Thank you. Have a good day.